So I'm going to show you how to make these chunky style glue board books, kind of. They're not really glue books, but I use glue to bind them and to put the pages together, so I'm just calling them glue books. They're very solid, very sturdy, and very chunky. And I love the way that they feel when you hold them and when you open them. They lay flat and they're just really nice to work with. So I'm using pieces of art that I've created that has art on one side and blank on the back. You don't want to use double-sided because then you're going to be gluing pages together and you're going to hide one of the sides. So it's basically for art you've already created that you want to bind in a book, or pages that you've made that you want to bind together to create on in the future. I used pieces that I usually start on an 18 by 24 watercolor when I start any painting, and then I cut it up. I either cut it into 4 9 by 12s or whatever, but these pieces that I've used for mine are left over from either making journals or pieces of art that I've made that I've cut and had leftover pages, and that's what I'm using. You can use any size though. You can use this 6 by 4.5, you can use 9 by 12, you can use 6 by 9. So any pages you want to cut, any size, this technique is great for. So the pieces that I have used are very colorful and I like to have that, but you can also put in some blank pages with it, or black or brown wrap or deli wrap. I just like to make the bulk of the book with watercolor paper because it makes it that very thick and really nice way. So now that I have my papers cut, what I do is I take duct tape. You can use any masking tape or anything, but I'm using duct tape because it's strong and I have a lot of it. And I just take a strip and put the pages flat down with the art side down and the white side up, and I just take the tape and I fold it over both pieces, so I'm making like a little mini signature. And I take all my papers, and that's what I do for maybe 20 to 40 pages or pieces of paper. I put them together in that way, lay them flat down, then take the tape and just lay it down the center between the two pages, press it down. Sometimes I get my glue stuck. My tape stuck. Yeah, sometimes duct tape is hard to work with, but it doesn't matter on this step because it's all going to be glued together anyway. So I just lay my tape there. I try to get it as close to the edge as possible. Then fold it and smooth it down. And then if you have to, trim your edges of tape because you don't want leftover tape. So I'm going to continue this process, laying the art side down, having the blank side facing up. Some of my pages has art on both sides, so that's why you'll see some. So I lay it down, smooth it with my fingers, and then trim the edges. And then I just lay them in a stack, and I keep going until my pile is done. Just taping, smoothing, and trimming. And you don't have to really do this step all when you're making the book. If you have pages that you know are going to go into a book, just tape them when you have them, and then you'll have a whole stack of taped pages. So I didn't do that. I'm just doing the whole process right now. So I'm going to just continue taping. And some people use glue and fabric to put the pages together, or masking tape, or I don't use transparent tape because that doesn't hold well and it'll get like hard under the glue. I've used the duct tape every time and I love how it works. It's very flexible and it's not going to rip or tear. So, all right, I'm just going to continue taping the signatures, and I will be back for the gluing part. Okay, so now I have all my pages I mean, I can make it thick. I can make it thicker. But for today's purpose, I'm just making it, I think I have about 20 signatures here. So I'm going to stack them, make sure they look okay. They're a little uneven, like I said. And then I am going to use this tacky glue. It's not the one you're supposed to use. You're supposed to use PVA, but I've finished all my PVA glue, so I'm just using this, which works fine. You want a glue that dries a little flexible and strong. So this works pretty good, but the PVA is the best. It has a better bond, and the flexibility is a bit sturdier. But for this purpose, for these style books, this is fine. So I'm just going to, if you notice, all the pages are taped, and the white is on the outside, and the color is on the inside. So we're going to start with this first page, and we're just going to put glue. And just keep adding glue. Not a lot. You want to keep it on the minimal side, because as you press down, when you add the next layer, you don't want glue seeping out the edges. So I just do like enough glue to cover the whole area, but with a lot of space in between. So this way it'll spread out, but it won't really go to the edges. Later on, when your book is complete, if you have some edges that aren't glued, you can go in with a glue stick or add a little more glue with your tube. But for this purpose, I just basically cover the surface of the paper and the tape. Not cover it fully, but I touch glue upon every surface with space in between. And I'm just going to continue on gluing these pages, and then we will let them sit and dry. Okay, thank you. Okay, so now we have them all glued together, and I'm just going to make sure they're even and flat on the binding side, because I'm going to be adding glue there. But for now, I'm going to just let them sit in a stack and let the glue dry somewhat. I mean, when we're done with the whole book, we're going to let it sit overnight, but for now, I'm just going to let it sit and put this heavy vase on it. Okay, so now I've let them sit for a little while, and they're all glued together pretty well. Obviously, I'm going to let it sit overnight. Some of the pages stick a little because the tape might have stuck, so I just go in and take each one apart. That happens in the beginning, but it's after the tape gets dried out, it's fine. I basically just do this one time. And it's holding together very well now, just with the glue. But overnight, it'll be a very strong bind. You could pull them apart a little bit now, but this glue is still wet in here. Okay, so now I am going to glue my cover on. I could have done that before, but I didn't know what I was using for a cover. And I just lay that on top. And then I put one on. I could actually leave the back as it is. Yeah, I'm going to do that because this is my back cover, but I'm going to save that for a front. So I'm just going to, this will be my front. And I just put the glue on. And now I'm going to put all glue in here. And then I'm going to cover it. And this is where you could use fabric, because you could have a nice fabric piece here. You just cut a piece of fabric about 2-3 inches wide. You glue it and you're going to lay the fabric over. I'm going to use the duct tape though. I'm going to use orange for my binding. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put glue on here. And you can use your fingers or a brush to spread it through. And you cover the whole top. Put a nice generous amount of glue. Get it in the crevices. You can see mine is very off key. It's not off kilter. It's not even at all. But like I said, I like it like that. So you just trim it any way you like and have it as even as you like. You do want it even this way though, because you want the glue to fill in the grooves and be nice and flat. So when I put my tape over, it will be a nice smooth binding. And that's about it. I think I put enough glue. You can put a little more if you want. I'm fine with this amount. Just rub a little over the edge. Okay. Now I might have to use 2 pieces of tape because this is only 1.5 inches wide. And so I'm going to lay it down. And I'm going to put it on the edge here, about 1/2 inch in, and spread it down. Then pick up the book, squeeze it together with my hands, and pull this over as far as I can. So it's a little tight. I'm going to put another piece of tape over, starting here and then going down that side. And then I'm going to make sure that I push the edges down. So see, there's only a little bit of edge here, but I still want it to be tight. And I'm going to just smooth the tape into the glue. And then I can just let it sit like this for a minute. I'm going to get another piece of tape. And I'm going to put it, turn it over, and put it on this side, and then go over the other way. Pull it tight, and then spread it smooth with your fingers. Then I go and I smooth it down on the side. You can see my tape through here, but I don't mind. If I want, I could do another orange over it. Like it's nice and even here. And then I just take it with this side down, and I just press down and kind of go back and forth a little to make sure the glue, see, you can start to see the ridges. And I just keep pressing until I feel all the glue is down into the crevices and my tape is nice and smooth on both sides and in the top. And then I trim it. I mean, you can do it in a way where your tape, you don't have to trim it because it's even, but I just take any size tape I want and then trim it later. As you see, I'm not like a fuss pot with stuff like that. Yeah, that's nice. I may trim that a little bit too. And then I'm going to do the other side. I kind of just go like this to get the big chunk off first. And then I'll go back in and trim it. You could wait till the glue dries too. I just like to trim it up somewhat. And then after the glue dries, either in a couple hours or even tomorrow, I'm going to go trim it up a little nicer. Like you'll see, this one's pretty nice, smooth. So, this one's good too. All the glue went down in the crevices and it's nice and even along here. This one could even dry a little bit more. All right, so now I will continue to press the binding just to make sure all the glue's down in there. Oh. And make sure you rinse off your scissors when you're done. And glue's going to start to come out the edge a little. That's fine. You can press it some more to make any extra glue come out the edge. And I just wipe that away a little bit with my finger. But basically I leave the bulk of it in there because it's going to dry flexible. And it'll just enhance the strength of it. And basically that is it. Now, I go back, some of the pages have indented a little because when the glue dries it makes like a concave. That won't stay like that. I go in and straighten out my pages a little bit. See, it's like a little concave here. I don't like that. So I go in and I straighten each page. Some are sticking. And when the glue is fully dry, these are going to straighten out, but I just like to help it along a little. Make sure every page opens nicely. Making sure that it opens flat, sits flatly. And that's it now. What I'm going to do is I put this like this in a bookshelf between two books. So it's squeezed this way between two books, and I push it down on the shelf so this dries flat. So this is going to go in between two books, just like this, on the shelf, tightly packed. And I'm going to let that sit overnight. And basically, this is it. After it's dry and firm, you're going to have a nice chunky book with either your favorite art in it or backgrounds to make new art. And each page is like a board. A mini, beautiful canvas for you to work on. Okay, thanks. Hope you enjoyed my lesson.